Great. Thanks to everyone who has joined. I think we are good to go ahead and get started. I will first let Camilla introduce herself, and then we will get started with the presentation with Anna today. We will have a Q&A session at the end. So if you want to hold any questions until then, you can also type them into the Q&A feature, and we will get to them at the end. So thanks everyone for being here. Camilla, take it away.
Hey guys, thanks for joining. I think everybody knows me already, but if you don't, I'm Camila. I am the Wellspring representative for Latin America. We're going to talk about more about Millersville University. It's a great opportunity for students with some great scholarships as well. So I hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, just let me know. You can go ahead and start, Anna.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. So my name is Anna Bradford. I am the Associate Director of International Admissions here at Millersville University. One second, sorry, my Zoom controls migrated. So today I am going to be introducing you to Millersville, or affectionately known as the Ville, by staff, faculty, and students. And I'm going to start off this presentation today first by talking about our location and the environment in which Millersville University is located. Then I'll be talking to you about our programs and other initiatives that we offer on campus. And I'll conclude with talking about the admissions process. And then I'll also stop sharing my screen, take you to the website, and help you navigate the website, as we do have 4 admitting offices here on campus. And leading international admissions, I would be the staff member, as well as my team, processing applications for undergraduate, transfer, graduate, online, and our English Language Institute program. So definitely we're the one office to handle everything. And I want to make sure that you'll be able to have what you need and know where to go to be able to assist students in finding their way to Millersville. So starting off with our location, Millersville is located on the east coast of the continental United States. You can see in that circle, we're in the state of Pennsylvania. And in this region, we're about 2.5 hours from New York City, an hour and about 15 minutes to Philadelphia. Both of those time estimates are based off of traveling there by train. And we're also accessible within about 2.5 hours by car to Washington, D.C. It'll take you a little bit longer if you take the train into Philly than down to DC. You can see within that circle, tiny little airplanes. Those are all international airports, so we are quite accessible. And then we're also within reasonable distance between other major cities in the state of Pennsylvania, such as Pittsburgh and Harrisburg, but we're actually closer to New York than we are to Pittsburgh, largely because there's a huge mountain chain right between our 2 cities. So that way you can get a little bit of an image of where we are located. We are in a peaceful and beautiful region. This is a picture of Lancaster City. It's a city that is probably within a few kilometers of our campus. It'll take 10 minutes by car to get right downtown from Millersville University. And we're in a very historic region. You can see the silhouette of the buggy and horse. We're in the original area for where the Amish come from. There are people that still use horses and buggies to travel around the city to plow their fields. So it is quite charming, not only within the architecture, but it's kind of nice to see a horse and a buggy go through the stoplight when you're driving to go to the store. And we're historic. We're the oldest inland city in the United States, but we're also the capital of the US for one day during the Revolutionary War. So there's a lot of American history within the region, which helps to add to the charm through tourism, as well as things that students can experience. And we are a new hub of activity. There are a lot of new businesses, a lot of things to do downtown. So not only are we a tourist opportunity for people because of the Amish, as well as the history, but there's a lot of new arts scene, a lot of new businesses and things moving downtown. It's known as a newly hip Victorian city. So we're actually one of the largest growing cities within the state of Pennsylvania. And the state of Pennsylvania does have one of the highest GDPs in the US, being in the 6th. So definitely within the top 10. And Lancaster County is a welcoming region. There are a lot of refugees and those that have been displaced that have found their home within the area. So it is a very safe and welcoming region that you can promote to your students. Lancaster City is one of only 18 welcoming cities in the United States, which is a very difficult certification for cities to obtain because you need to have your local government, businesses, and nonprofits all come together to establish and declare this initiative and desire to be welcoming. And there's a lot of regional diversity that our students can benefit from. So just about 1 block away in our southern market, about pretty close to that picture you saw before, is just an example of some of the refugee businesses that have come up or those that have been relocated to Lancaster City that have come up. So students have a lot of food options, things that'll taste like home. There's over 13 international grocery stores, a lot of access locally, or they can go to the larger cities and be able to find things as well. So now that I've introduced you to the region that Millersville is located, I want to transition to talking about our institution. Millersville University is led by Dr. Wuba. He is the president, and he's also was once an international student himself. He came to the United States initially to pursue his master's before rising up and becoming a president of our institution. He's also the chief of his tribe in Ghana, and he actively presides over his tribe. So it's amazing how he's been able to build the ties back home. He actually brought a delegation from Ghana talking about trade and exporting to campus. So that is one tangible way which we demonstrate that internationalization focus and thrust from the very top of the institution down. Millersville was established in 1855 as a teacher's college, and we keep the heart of that teaching spirit alive in all that we do, but we have over 100 programs and offerings now. So there's quite a history to tap into by alumni and other things that we've accomplished over that time, but we're very proud to be able to have expanded and stay established, one of the oldest institutions in the US established. And we have awards and recognitions consistently recognized by the US News and World Report as one of the top 30 universities in the North. So we have distinctions there. But we're also very proud of a few other of our awards. The ADT represents your local security that has recognized Millersville University as one of the safest institutions in the US. On their list in 2021, it was the safest in the state of Pennsylvania and 6th within the nation. The Times Impact Rankings are the first ranking system tied to the Sustainable Development Goals, and Millersville University was one of about 42 to 46 institutions from the United States on a list of about 256 recognized for that progress. So we're very happy and proud to be recognized for our commitment to sustainability. And Insight into Diversity awards about 147 awards every year of institutions that are dedicated to diversity and equity. And Millersville University has been recognized for 11 years in a row. So it's not just once, but sustainable and consistent commitment in all that we do. And we're very proud to be recognized, not only in that, but as you can see in other areas as well. So here's some information about the size of our institution. We're a public university, mid-size master's institution. Of the 6,000, just under 7,000 students on campus, a majority of those are undergraduate degree seeking, so bachelor's degree seeking students, with somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 students who are seeking their master's or graduate degree. And we keep our classroom sizes smaller, with about 26 on average, where students have a lot of one-on-one attention with professors who keep consistent hours. And there's a few different initiatives that connect students to faculty more intimately as well through research or other initiatives. As mentioned, we have over 100 programs and related areas of study and a lot of different clubs and avenues for students to engage. On this slide are just a few of the more popular programs with our international students. There are a lot of options for our students that are categorized within these 4 colleges. It's completely possible for students to have 2 majors or a major with 2 minors. And we also have an exploratory program. So students that might not be sure what they would like to do right now do have the opportunity to have support and advising related to exploring their options their first few years here on campus. So just a snapshot of some of the more popular programs, but do keep in mind that there are some programs on our website that are more fully available online. So if you're working with the students seeking that F1 visa, definitely reach out just to make sure. At the undergraduate level, all of them but our nursing program would be available. Nursing is more of an online shifted focus program. And then some of our graduate programs have shifted to an online focus as well. Here is just a snapshot of some of the academic resources that are available to students. The one I'd like to highlight is the experiential learning and career management department. This is our career services department that would handle internships, job fairs, assist students with mock interviews, as well as helping them with their resumes. So we have a 96% job placement rate 6 months after graduation for our students here on campus. So that's either going to jobs or going to their chosen degrees after graduation. So we're very proud of the practical experiences that we've given students that launch them out for success. And one of the ways in which we do that is through tangible experiences like our Made in Millersville event, which actually is going to be happening next week. And you can access the research that our students are doing online if you are interested. And this is a homegrown conference. So students of all majors are able to work with faculty and advisors to be able to choose a research project, pursue that, and then present it like you would at any professional conference, which is an amazing tool for students to be able to add to their resume and gain that confidence to be able to go out into their careers and present proposals and be published again, or be published in the future. We have a Made in Millersville journal in which students can be published, and some very industrious students can cycle that again for republication. But this is a very tangible and really influential experience for a lot of our students that go through. Some of them fall in love with research. Some of them decide at this time it's not for them, but it's a very important milestone we give our students. Speaking of milestones, we have a lot of traditions here on campus. Many of these that you see for pictures or listed on the slide are part of our weeks of welcome. So for the first 4 to 5 weeks of the start of the fall term, we have a lot of events that are welcoming students back or here for the first time. That picture at the top is actually from our candle lighting ceremony, which is typically part of our Moretter Pride celebration. So new students are welcomed in by alumni or current students by having their candles lit, and we all stand around and welcome them upon a fixture at the center of campus, our pond. And later in the week during homecoming, or the next week during homecoming, we have a parade through Millersville Borough where students, a lot of them will wave their home flags and represent their home nation. So that's part of our weeks of welcome, as well as the celebration of international education at the end of the year. And final stretch is a series of ways for students to relieve stress through different activities right before finals, kind of launching them out into break really well. So in addition to those resources academically that I've shared, we have a number of student life resources, ways to support students here on campus. One that I'd like to highlight here is our living learning communities. I'll talk a little bit more about housing in a slide or two, but there's a few different identity-based communities or interest-based communities, such as our Women in STEM or our Global Connections Live and Learn communities where students can bond, but over many different clubs and opportunities as well. The International Programs and Services Office is the office in which I'm situated. We serve all international students, and we are a very strong supportive base for those students, not only for their integration, but in their time here on campus as well. So you do have one place that you can refer students to that will assist with all things or know where to refer them out to, should it not be something we do is like housing or food, but one place for us to be able to have them for questions. And here's a few examples of just some of the trips that we take students on throughout the term. So this one, the first one on the top of the bus, the double-decker bus, is in Philly. And then we have a picture from DC. We're actually going to be taking some students within the next week to Washington, DC. We're very excited about that. and do that annually. So very affordable, and it's a great way for them to explore. So rounding back to housing, here you can see a picture inside of one of the residence hall rooms. The standard setup for most of the rooms here on campus for the residence halls would be 2 suite rooms, so 2 rooms to a suite, so 2 students to 1 room. And then there's actually 2 bathrooms within a suite, with the sinks of those bathrooms being outside of the suite. So very comfortable. Quite, as you can see, it's a little bit of a spacious room with furniture attached. And then there's also apartment style housing for upperclassmen. Students are required to live on campus if they have less than 60 credits or 2 years of schooling. If they have a family member or sponsor within the region, they can petition to live off campus. So that's something to keep in mind if you're working with a first-year student. And there also, the live and learning communities I mentioned earlier are a great option for students that are very concerned about cooking. While there are cooking spaces within 2 of the residence halls, if you're in one of the live and learn communities, you're sharing a full kitchen with only 8 to 9 people. So it could be a good selling point for those particular students. I have a video that I can share, just a testimony of one of our students. For the sake of time, I won't play it, but I'm happy to share it. If you look on the side, you can see just a snapshot of what some students can accomplish while they're here. Yasser did his bachelor's of business here at Millersville, and then he stayed for his master's in innovation and technology. He was able to pursue an internship at his undergraduate level downtown in Philly, and he's looking to pursue that for his OPT, the same company, for that experience after he graduates. So we're very proud of him, very excited about all he was able to do. I'm very excited to have an international student active in Greek life. So that's also an option for students, not something that commonly happens, but he had a great experience doing that too. And here's a few other testimonials of students that have been successful. For example, our student here from India, he did present at Made in Millersville, but he was also the CFO of our Marauder Fund, that it is an investment fund that's part of our economics club. And they are able to use university funds to be able to do investments in a diversified portfolio. They have access to a Bloomberg terminal, which is the same software and technology that Wall Street is actively using. And he was able to leverage that experience to find a job in his field after he pursued his master's. So he's currently working in a hedge fund and putting that use from a club into work, his real world experience. Sorry guys, a little tired today. So Millersville University is a university dedicated to our EPIC values. We spelled it that way on purpose, just to cram in all that we value here. So if you're going to our website, or if you're trying to explain to a student just the culture and the things that the university is dedicated to, you'll see many things on our website round back to these 6 values. It's definitely something that we believe in, and we hope to demonstrate that to you, our partners, and our students during their time here on campus. Sorry, the light in my office went out. So now let's transition to talking about the application process. There is no application fee for our partners, so you do not have to worry about that. There's no code associated. We won't collect an application fee at the time of application. For our undergraduate students, there are 2 things that we need to be able to move the application forward, and that would be their English proficiency demonstration. Our website has 4 different ways in which you can have that requirement met. So of course, the first one would be tests. We have about 11 to 12 different exams that we recognize, such as IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo test of English. If a student is going to an American school, a US regionally accredited institution overseas, and has a curriculum that's taught in English, it could be an automatic waiver, or certain curriculum types such as A-levels or IB. If they have not completed that curriculum, and we can look at the course, like the grades within courses such as their English language course, to be able to address that, or test scores such as the ECT or SAT English subscore band. So there's a few different ways, all fully listed on our website. Or a student that does not have English proficiency at this time can be enrolled in our English Language Institute and be conditionally admitted to a degree-seeking program. So if they are seeking that, there's a way for them to identify that on the application form itself. All transcripts will be required, and the requirements will vary by country. We do have a full listing of a lot of nations that we frequently receive applications from. For one, what we would need if they're still in school. So for example, depending on the length of high school in that nation, it'd be the most recent 2 to 3 years of education. If they've graduated, the exact credentials that we would need for that. So found on our website. We can use copies of those materials to be able to issue a decision, but we will need official documents submitted in order to allow a student to register. There's a hold placed on their account in order to prevent registration until we have notification of those materials as well as their visa. For immigration purposes, to issue the initial I-20, we need the copy of the passport. We have a form called the source of funds form that would need to be electronically completed. A student has access to that on their checklist, as well as proof of funds. So funding, the exact parameters are found on that source of funds form. They can upload that to that source of funds form. For students that are borderline, so our minimum GPA for first year students would be a 2.5 on a 4.0 scale. For transfer students, it would be a 2.0 on a 4.0 scale. For students at the first year level that are within a few points, so maybe a 2.46 or 2.45, we might ask for some supplemental materials, such as reference letter or a statement of 300 words to be able to see an example of engage better whether or not the student could be a good academic fit or do well at this institution, or maybe utilize some of our other support services. At the graduate level, the requirements might vary, but things that are consistent with all is that we would also need that English language proficiency statement. Same criteria, but some of the test scores would be different. Also, official transcripts of all degrees or all post-secondary degrees. We can use copies in order to be able to establish that GPA. At this time, Millersville does not require a NACES or an ICE evaluation. So they would just need to submit those materials for us to be able to do the benchmarking and GPA establishment in-house. And the minimum GPA for our graduate programs in the catalog is a 2.7, but it will vary depending on the program. So some programs, for example, our sports management program requires a 2.8. And some of our programs, such as our clinical psychology, school psychology programs, our Masters of Information and Technology require a 3.0. For some of those programs, they might also ask for a Miller's Analogy Test or an MAT or a GRE if the GPA is just below or below a 3.0. All of that information is found within the catalog at the time of application. So definitely something you can find there. Some students might be required to upload personal statements. My suggestion is please to not type in or have a student type in their personal statement on the form, but to upload a PDF of that statement. That is a preference for the graduate departments, as well as references. So there is a way for them to be electronically received, but it's also appropriate for students to upload those references to the portal as well. So here's a snapshot of the cost of attendance. This estimate for this next cycle is based off of the funds or the current tuition for the 2022-2023 cycle. The actual finalized tuition bands will be released in July 2023 for the next year. So this is the current estimates. There might be a potential 1 to 2% increase because we have had the consistent tuition model for the last 4 years, but funding and inflation has made it so that the institution might increase it just slightly. So for the student, this might vary within a few $100s. For tuition for 15 credits, we do not charge students on a credit model. If they are full-time, they'll qualify for this tuition bands. And then the mandatory fees, housing and meals, all come down to those direct costs. There is a financial cost sheet that we release to students at the time of admission that would have the same cost with any awards that they might qualify for deducted from that financial cost sheet, so they know how much to demonstrate in their personal source of funds form. So this is that $34,000 is not a price that any student pays, because we do have a few, or any undergraduate student pays, because we do have a few stackable awards. So the first award that the Office of Admission administers is our merit-based scholarship. There's no additional application. It is awarded at the time of admission, starting in September, ending around May 1st. They have to be claimed by May 1st. Otherwise, after that, they will be available on a case-by-case basis coming down to availability. So students who have been offered that on their financial cost sheet, it does say they need to respond and claim it by May 1st to secure the award. GPAs are released, scholarships are released on the basis of GPA. So it goes between $3,000 to $5,000. And then stackable on those are a few other awards. The other award that our Office of Admissions administers is the Reduced Tuition Grant. This is a grant, it's the fourth one listed here on this slide, that's available to all undergraduate students, first year or transfer, and it is automatic. It does not tied to a GPA, and all that is required to qualify is to study full-time and be from outside of the state of Pennsylvania. So all of the students that we would be admitting would automatically have this awarded. So that's $6,000 automatically off of that $19,000 on the previous slide for first years, and $4,000 automatically off of that for transfer students. A student is considered transfer if they have more than 12 transferable credits from another institution. And those two awards, stackable, could amount up to $11,000 if they have over a 3.75 GPA and are a first-year student with that $6,000 tuition reduction grant. On top of those awards could potentially be our honors scholarship. We have an honors program that students with a 3.75 can be considered for if they choose to elect into consideration. And the athletic scholarship, there's over 18 teams here, or 18 teams here at Millersville University. We are an NCAA Division II institution. If they're recruited by a coach and offered an award, that is both the honors and athletics awards would be renewable. Other ways that students can support themselves financially would be through campus employments, many different options for students here on campus, as well as an installment plan. It costs $30 per semester to enroll, and they can have up to 5 different payments ending at the end of the semester. So they might start the payments before the semester, so their payments are made in full by the end of the semester. And then a graduate assistantships exclusively available to our graduate students. A full-time position of 20 hours would amount to 24 credits waived for our students, with a stipend of $5,000 separated each month of the fall or spring term. So they would be paid that in installments throughout that time. There are also positions that are 10 credits, or so rather 10 hours per week. So what they would receive is half of what's listed here. We do not have awards outside of what's listed here for our international students at the time of admission, but there are other options for them to pursue for scholarships once they're enrolled. So here's just an overview of some of the reasons why Millersville University is a destination of choice for international students. We take great care of them and they have great experiences while they are here. For students who are looking to apply, if they go to our website, they will see this apply button, and it will take them to this page with 4 different options. And as mentioned earlier, we are the one office that would handle the applications for all types of enrollment for our international students. So they would seek this application to be able to apply. So thank you. I was really happy to share with you about our institution. As mentioned, I'm just going to take you quickly to the website to show you how to navigate to where some of our information lives, because there is some admissions related information that students might come across. For example, our undergraduate admissions office does require a deposit. So if you do see students that have come across a request for a deposit, it's not from international admissions. So if they are here on the homepage and you click admissions and hit international, it will take them to the international admissions page. Right here under this button, this information right here would actually be, let me see. So if you're looking at it from a cell phone, the same navigation tool will be right here. but you click under prospective students to be able to get to the summary of information for undergraduate and grad that I just shared with you via our presentation. The information about our English Language Institute would be found here under English Language Learners. Financial assistance takes you to information. These two would be our tuition reduction grants, and then information about the merit-based scholarships. Costs and tuition can be found here from our students. So they can book, maybe attend a virtual appointment or an information session through these links if they choose to do so. We do have monthly sessions. It's taking a minute to upload. So sorry, it's not showing right now, but if you give it a second, it'll refresh and show you that information sessions coming up. Also on this page, we have if you go back to the international undergraduate, there is not undergraduate, sorry, international, we have our admitted students checklist. So these are the exact steps to do after they've been extended an offer of admission all the way through to enrollment and arrival. So this is frequently updated and will be the main way for them to be able to navigate next steps, as well as their application status page following admission. So that's just a brief tour of what's available on our website. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Hi guys, if you have any questions, you can type on the chat box, or we have a Q&A opened as well. Anna, if you could just take a minute to talk about the scholarships again, to make sure that they understand about the two options that students can have, because the scholarships can be very high and they can increase based on the GPA, but also if they shouldn't apply with a minimum GPA, they also have a scholarship opportunity over there. So it's just to revise that specific information. I think that's important.
Sure. So I'll actually just share the screen again, because I think it's helpful for them to see where it is on the website too.
And all the amounts.
Yeah. So underneath here for prospective students, they'll find financial assistance. So there's two awards, and the first one we call right now is the reduced tuition eligibility. On their financial cost sheet, it'll say reduced tuition grants. And this for first year students, so for freshmen, it would be $6,000 a year. It is awarded to all incoming first year students, and they need to be enrolled full time. So that's where it's 12 credits and above. And it's for those that are out of state or international, and it's off of that rate.
Okay.
So this is automatic for students at their first year. These two awards are connected, right? So this is the first year one. This is for transfers.
Okay.
And reduced tuition eligibility is only available for undergraduate students. So separate award. And the second one is the International Student and Scholars, or ISSS Merit Award, a merit-based scholarship. And here are the bands. And this is 3,000, not 3,000, 3,000 is the award, but I meant 3.0 and above. So 3.0 to a 4.9 would be what qualifies them. And this is off of the US 4.0 scale, which we would assign at the time of admission, that they would qualify for $3,000, which is renewable. Then between 3.5 to 3.74 would be 4,000. 3.75 and above would be the $5,000 award. And we start issuing these in September for when the new cycle opens. And the automatic portion of this stops in May, because at that time, anyone who's been offered it between September to May, they are notified on their tuition or their financial cost sheet. These need to be claimed by May 1st. After that, they're available based off of the availability following May 1st. So that is language that's on the financial cost sheet the students receive. And after, it's on the basis of availability, what's still not claimed once things come up to the start of term. So guaranteed on first year students would have $6,000.
Is that at least 6,000?
Yeah, so the 6,000 is the tuition reduction guaranteed, and then it could go up to the 11, and that would be renewable depending on their GPA and if they were able to claim the award.
Okay, I have one question here that came on WhatsApp to me. The 6,000 that is the guarantee that they have, is that also renewable for the 4 years, or
Yes.
only the GPA based one?
So the tuition reduction is renewable. All they have to do is remain full-time.
Students.
They have to, yeah.
They'll have to do it anyway, so
Yes.
at least that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone else has any other questions? I have my WhatsApp open if you guys want to text me as well, or you can just chat it over the chat box. But I don't think so, Anna. Again, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining us today. This was a recorded session, so we are going to receive the link with the recording as well. If you have any other questions, you have my contact information, my WhatsApp and my email. I'm always available to help. And thanks, Anna, for joining us. It's great to have this opportunity with Millersville, and I think it's another great options for students from my region, so from Latin America countries.
Perfect. Look forward to working with you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
so
Darby,
much,
for
Anna.
organizing everything.
Thank you.
Of
Thank
course.
you. Bye-bye.
Everyone have a great rest
Bye.
of your day.